Now, I'm going to give you material throughout the course, like activity, handouts, and such. So let me show you this. I've got a network folder. I've got a folder where I can pass you files. So the syllabus, question there, ladies? You guys have a question? Okay. So this syllabus here, if you got a printout of it, good. If you didn't get a printout of it, I'll give you a digital version of it. And I'll also give you other notes and things in the network folder. We've got a network folder where I can pass you files. If you brought a USB flash drive, you can plug that in and take it with you. If you didn't bring a USB drive, you can email it to yourself. But I'm going to give you things throughout the class in the network folder. Here's what the network folder is. Go ahead and minimize everything, because I've got 2 items for you to give you. Minimize all the windows, and then just go to the desktop here. Double-click computer icon at the top left. If you get lost, of course, let us know, and we'll help you get found. But double-click computer at the top left. There'll be a section over here, network location. You should see Classroom Data Drive Z. Z as in zebra. Double-click Classroom Data Drive Z. There's a bunch of folders of a bunch of instructors. It's alphabetical. Oh, look at that. The stuff from the social media class is still there, in case you want it. But for our class, Campus SEO, here's our class folder. If you open that folder, you can copy all of these things to your desktop, to your flash drive, email them to yourself. If you need help email, you can ask later on in the day. You don't need to email it now, but you can ask a little later. You want to get these if you need them. There's the syllabus. If you didn't get the paper syllabus, you'll be able to print out a copy a little later when I turn the printer back on. This code of conduct, which is that flyer up on the wall there about the safe school environment. You can look at that. And I put 2 items here that are going to be valuable for us. First, Campus SEO number 1, long tail strategy. I'm going to give you a few handouts as we go out through the class, number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., with sort of like tangible things to do. And then also this Word document, company profile, which we'll look at in a moment. So did everyone find that folder? For the moment, the one I want to look at is the long tail strategy. You can drag a copy from my folder to your desktop or flash drive. Just drag a copy out of the folder so you can get your own copy of it. It's better to do that instead of opening it in the network, because if someone else opened it, it might be locked for you. So it'd be better to drag it out of the network to your desktop. Once you've got a copy of it, double-click it. We'll take a look at it. Okay, so long tail keyword strategy. This is a concept of modern SEO. SEO is constantly evolving. It was easier in ye old days when Yahoo was the dominant search engine. All you had to do was put the keyword of what your business is all over your site. I'm a pizza parlor, so I have victorspizza.com. And the first text that appears on my website was, want to buy pizza? And then I've got pizza in the footer, and I've got pizza on this page, and I have that keyword pizza everywhere. And it worked in the beginning, 20 years ago. Well, more than one pizza parlor opened up in my city, in my nation, in the world. And so everyone's using the keyword pizza. And before the search engines were smart enough to also kind of know your location, if you search for pizza, you might get a pizza parlor from Moscow, Idaho, and or Russia. So then the search engines had to change, get smarter, etc. And then spammers came. So they started to put keywords onto their website. Every keyword in the dictionary, because the keyword's got to be in there that someone's searching. So it was easier in the old days because less competition, less abuse of the system. Nowadays, It's more complicated and harder to rank because of the competition, because of the abuse of the system, because of the techniques that change in the search engines. Old way, pizza. New way, artisanal pizza in Hillcrest. What's the difference? I'm searching for pizza in both. What's the difference? Literally, one is more words. Figuratively, one is more specific. So, nowadays, it's about specificity. Specificity. How specific you search. If you search for pizza, you're going to get 7 trillion results. If you search for artisanal pizza in Hillcrest, you're going to get less results. Probably the correct result from the right company. This is how people are searching more and more. Even if you don't know too much about the internet and websites and search engines and such, you think about it also in the real world. I want to go, in the real world, I want to go to Little Caesars Pizza. Well, which one? There's ones all over the town, and actually, I want authentic Sicilian-style pizza. I'm not going to get that from Little Caesars or Domino's or whatever. I want to go to a real mom-and-pop shop pizza place. So I want like an authentic one. So I'm going to search more specifically. So it's about specificity. Also known as long-tail keywords. Okay, so search queries. Someone's going to search, and they're going to search a variety of ways, but people are getting smarter about searching in a way to get better results because there's just so much junk out there. I want to get a real result. Now, another way that people are searching is like this. What's a local taco shop?
Here are some listings for what's a local taco shop within 5 miles.
Okay, so this is an Android phone, but they all do this, right? iPhone has Siri, Android has their assistant, and there's Cortana, and what's Alexa, and so forth. There's all of these voice searches. So this is another way too. People are asking a natural language search query. Fancy way of saying, talking like a person. I'm not looking for San Diego taco shop nearby. I'm not asking in a mechanical way, like I might think to ask on a search engine. I'm asking in a natural way. Then the search engine processes it. In this case, it's a Google result. And I get a map, and which are open, and I get a bunch of reviews. I get La Fuente Mexican food. It's 0.4 miles away. It has 4.5 stars with 308 reviews. I get El Rey Moro Taco Shop. It's 4.3 miles away, 58 reviews, perfect 5 stars, whatever. Etc. So I get the search results built in that way too with reviews, and then I get San Diego's best 30 taco shops and Yelp reviews and all of that. But I'm searching in a much more natural way. Even if I'm not doing it via voice, people are doing this also on the search engine. They're typing in Google or up on their search bar in a way that's more specific, more detailed, using what they don't know as known as the long tail keyword strategy. So we need to engage in what are some words, more like phrases, that really define what our business is and what people might be searching for, and then use those phrases, as we'll see how, in our site to help us get found, because we're going to cover organic mostly and some paid ways for results. But again, if you go the paid route, it lasts X amount of time. If you go the organic route, it kind of takes hold for a little bit longer. It's more work and all of that, but you lay a good foundation. Question?
Are you specifically talking about putting those in the URL?
No, I'm talking about everywhere. In the old days also, I would want artisanalpizzahillcrest.com. But someone already took it 10 years ago, so I cannot do it. I'm going to be fine with victorspizza.com if I use these keywords as we will see throughout the class, on the homepage, in the metadata, in my Twitter, and my Facebook, etc. Everywhere that I can.
I'm talking about after the domain.
It's still related, yeah. So even if I've got victor.com/artisanal pizza in Hillcrest, it's everywhere.
You want it there, right?
It doesn't have to be there. You don't want to force these things sometimes. So there are nuances that we'll get to. But knowing that we need to deal with phrases and keywords, one possible place to put it is in your URL, yes. But it's not the only place. And we'll talk about all the places where it should be necessary. So it's about specificity, long tail keywords. It's about the content of your site, about not abusing or gaming, cheating the system. My website is not about pizza, it's about web design. So why am I going to put something about pizza if it doesn't really relate? Maybe there's, pizza is popular right now, maybe there's something popular, something's happening in the world that's popular. I'm not going to just borrow those keywords that don't matter to my business to force them to try to get popularity and traffic. This is one of the spam tactics. This is one of the techniques that the bad guys use. And when the search engines figure out that this is an abusive technique, well, they're going to penalize the spammers. And if you're using spam techniques, now you're a spammer. And I believe you that you're a good person and all of that, but Google won't, Bing won't, Yahoo won't. There's just such an avalanche of negativity and spam and fakeness and all of that the search engines basically operate under guilty until proven innocent. Shoot first, ask questions later. Because there's just such an avalanche of all that negativity that if you fall in with the bad crowd, it's going to be hard to get out of that negative SEO pit that you've gone into purposely or accidentally. So we want to know these things early on. We get a lot of this knowledge once we set up our webmaster tools. They will tell us, here's the good, here's the bad. Not just what we'll talk about in class, but it's ever changing. And so it's still about the content. And we'll see this in more detail. We still have to talk in theory before we get into practice of it. But early task, develop a list of keywords. And again, the proper term perhaps more is phrases. List of key phrases that define what your business is. Or does, or sells. And then use those keywords, quote, everywhere, and I'll get into the nuances of where everywhere is, because people are searching those terms, and we want to get found when people search those terms. I'm not going to get found with pizza anymore. Domino's and all of those companies are paying top dollar to get top results, every Friday, every weekend. Well, I'm not trying to go after that market. I'm a sit-down restaurant. We focus on great artisanal pizza, so I have to kind of know my competition and what I need to do differently than them. So let me draw a little picture here, and I'll give you this picture a little bit later. It's called the long tail keyword strategy. Uh-oh, here comes the SEO police.
The Google penalizers.
Yes. Okay, so the search engine penalizers, yes, generically, remember. I'm going to draw a little chart right here. I'll give you this drawing in the network folder a little bit later. Okay, so there is on the left side on the y-axis there is frequency. On the x-axis at the bottom there is keyword. The units don't quite matter because then the actual drawing of it, the curve, is something like this. Doesn't really reach 0, but something like that. So, okay, there's some keyword, pizza, that is used a lot. Too much. Everyone's using it. I'm a needle in a haystack. If I'm using the keyword pizza on my site and everyone else is, there's a lot of frequency to that keyword. I'm going to get drowned out. I'm not going to get found. There's too many people using that keyword. On the opposite end over here, artisanal pizza in Hillcrest. Affordable artisanal pizza in Hillcrest, which might not exist. So if you have over here this far, you might have very few people using that keyword, but very few people searching for that keyword. So somewhere in the middle, we're going to find your keywords, not the ones that are so generic that everyone's using and therefore you won't be found, and not the ones that are so niche that no one's searching for and you won't be found. Somewhere, so again, the values don't matter, but somewhere, and depending on your company, your location, your competition, you'll find these keywords. We'll find them together because this is the long tail keyword strategy. This is, if you further draw the graph, this is the tail of an animal. You know, it's a little tail. It tails off or trails off. This is the long tail. It's not in this part here with a high frequency. It's somewhere over here, but not so far over here that you fall off the tail. This is a quick illustration to help you think about long tail keyword strategy. You need to find your keywords somewhere, somewhere over here. How far to the left or to the right do you go? It depends. And what exact values? Well, there's no exact values because it varies for everyone. But a very specific keyword might not be very valuable, and a very generic one won't be valuable either. So, to define it here in the text, long tail keyword strategy is what are the phrases that are not too generic and not too specific that you can use to get found. If it's too far to the left of the curve, you're 1 in a million. If it's too far to the right, no one cares. No one is searching those terms. Maybe, most likely, definitely not enough to be a viable company. Maybe there are 10 people, 2 people, 5 people that search in there, but is that enough to have a viable company? No, I need 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever. So there are those extremes that are too extreme. To develop the the long tail keyword strategy, competitor analysis is very important. Competitor analysis in classic marketing, in real world marketing, is you hire someone and they go research your competition. They go look at what flyers they have. They call them up, anonymously. They gather information on the competition for you. They present you with a great looking report that says this is what they're doing, this is where they're failing at, this is where you can succeed at, and we'll go through those details as we go through the class. But modern competitor analysis, you can do it yourself via the search engines. You can use the search engines to do some reconnaissance on your competition, to check what their presence is like, what they're doing on their website, what they're doing on their marketing efforts, and so forth. To some degree, you won't be able to reveal everything, but you can use the search engines to do the reconnaissance, the competitor analysis. The handout that I gave you over here starts to break that down. So I mentioned again about, okay, getting found by Italian restaurants. Keyword might be difficult, but if you're more like authentic Italian food in Chula Vista, that's what people are a little bit more specifically going to search for. If I've got those sorts of phrases, people will then ask, in that order? No, it doesn't matter like it used to that it has to be in a specific order. But obviously, if it's in a certain common order, people might not really search for Chula Food Italian Vista. They're going to search for the real kind of word. So as long as you're kind of using the phrasing that is normal, you'll be fine. If it's, if two words are switched over, that's probably not a problem. But the idea is that the words are what matter for you to get found. The activity to do, okay, we're going to compare both ways. And this also helps us do our competitor analysis. So let me read it over and then we'll do it. We're going to use a search engine. So any search engine, Google and Bing especially, we're going to search a simple keyword about the business, the topic of your business. So if I'm a Victor PMD Interactive, we do web design, I might search web design. We do websites, maybe I'll do websites. I'm going to search like very generically first. I'm going to get a lot of bad results, but it's still going to be valuable as we will see. Because for the first page of results, we want to start to compile a list of the competition. This is something that we will do together in Microsoft Word in a moment. We're going to compile a list. Who are these other companies that are also in my space, in my territory? We're going to look intelligently at what a search engine result page is made out of and make notes. We are then going to follow the links to look at the competition. We're going to have to swallow our pride and look at the competition and see what they're doing right and see how we can do something like them or better. So we're going to take notes about their website, and here's some possibilities of what to take notes of, because I might not have the language, like what am I looking for, what's good about their site. Here's some like starting points. When was it updated? Does it have a blog, etc. So as many of these as you want to do, I just have the example here for 3. But if you want like good results, you want to do this for 10 competitors. The more that you do, the more that you learn to help you. Then we're going to do a version via the long tail keyword in a clean search engine. Let me come back to this note in a moment. But we're going to do it again via a clean search engine. And this time we're going to try to think in terms of searching for keywords that are more specific, more detailed. Maybe I'll put a location. Maybe I'll put a variation of the spelling. Maybe I'll put the name of a product. Maybe the point is to get more detailed. And I'll do the same thing. I'll compile a list of different results than the first one. And I'll make some notes about some of these possible questions about the competition. The clean search engine means, down here, every time you use these search engines, every time you use these web browsers, it's storing history about you. Not in a malicious way in theory, but in a way that's supposed to help you in terms of, I'm constantly searching for articles about web design. So it's going to show you more and more articles about web design. I'm constantly searching for a certain thing. I'm searching for cats. So it's going to show me a lot of cat stuff. Cat products, cat food, cat toys, etc. Because I'm looking for a certain topic. Now, that gets in the way when you do this competitor analysis because you already have like a paper trail of what you've looked at. All of the search engines have a way somewhere in the settings to erase your history. So that's what I'm saying about in a clean search engine is one where you've reset the web browser, where you've cleared the memory, cleared the cookies, started with like a new blank slate. The problem is that a lot of us rely on those cookies. Like when I log into my bank or my email, I want it to store that. I don't want to type it in again. And it's been so long that I've typed it, I don't even remember. So if I go to clear my memory and my history, I'm going to lose all my logins. So I have this solution over here that, where do I say? I recommend cleaning. You could use a separate web browser. You could use, Google Chrome or Safari as your main browser that you have everything stored in of importance. then you use an alternative browser, Firefox, Opera, Internet Explorer, whatever, and you use that other web browser only for the tactic of doing the competitor analysis. Because if I go off and erase the memory here, well, there's nothing important there. I'm using it for a specific purpose. That's what I mean by a clean search engine. People ask about, what about private browsing? Private browsing only works from the point now forward. So if you have done 20 searches and then go into incognito mode, private mode, whatever they call it, all that other stuff is still in memory. It's still affecting your future searches. Your future searches will not be stored. That's the point of the private browsing, but previous searches are still there. So if you clean out the cookies, then go to private mode, that's when you can get like the cleanest, purest results of the search. Because you're like a brand new person without a history, it'll show you that, just like your potential customers. They've never looked for you before, and they're searching for local tax preparers. Well, they're going to get a clean set of results, and we want to get that as well by cleaning the search engine, cleaning the browser. And then you make a list of keywords. So let's give this a shot. Go over, or actually, question so far before we give it a shot. Yeah.
Would Moz just be an easier way to do it if we have the capacity to use Moz?
There are a variety of tools that we can use to do all this search engine stuff.
I haven't used Moz, so I'm just really asking.
I personally, especially in the beginning, like to do it manually, so I kind of understand the concepts, and then later on I could switch over to a more automated sort of tool. So I would say, yeah, use these other tools. They are useful. They're out there because people use them and like them. But first, I teach in the way about kind of like just doing the generic way, manual way, and then to save yourself time and effort, and maybe go as a power user, you can use these other tools. So let's do this. Let's go to Microsoft Word. We've got Word on these computers, so go to the Start menu down here. You can write this on paper if you want, but it'd be better to go to Word because then you can copy and paste a lot easier. So I'm going to start Microsoft Word. Go to the Start menu here to search for the Word app and then just start it up. And if you get any pop-ups, just start it up. Go to a blank document. And I'm going to save this file. I'm going to save a copy of my file and put it into the network folder if you want it. If you want to save your own document, you'll have to email it to yourself or print it out when I turn on the printer, or take it on a USB drive. But I'm going to save this file as competitor analysis. Competitor analysis. So most of the things that I talk about in these classes, in theory, they're optional for you to do. You can just follow along, take notes, absorb it, etc. You can actually do it to kind of have it actually stick and make sense, or replay the video later on and then do it at your own pace, at your own computer. But I want to do here competitor analysis for, and then the name of your company. So I'm going to do Victor's Bakery. You can get fancy if you want. Okay, so if you don't have a company, yeah, you can just kind of make up anything, or just do what I'm going to do here with this fictional company. Okay, so company purpose. I've got another activity later to define this in more detail because sometimes people don't engage in step 0. This is step 1. There's a step 0, which is to define your company purpose. And for the moment, it's fine to say, like, sell cookies. The purpose of my business is to sell cookies, baked goods, whatever. So if you can put it in one phrase, sell stuff. That's fine. We will do a deeper, like, purpose and profile of your company, because that's a step 0 that then informs other things. I want to do step 1 for the moment. Let's say sell baked goods in San Diego. Again, you don't think a lot about some of this like step 0 foundational things. You just want to kind of jump in. But there's a lot of things before you do what you mainly need to do. So if I know this, the purpose of this company is to sell baked goods focused on San Diego. That's good enough now. It can be more detailed later on. So, classic keywords, long tail keywords. Here's a part where I might kind of style a few things. Totally optional. Maybe some bullet points. I can do this in a plain old text file with no colors or anything. It doesn't matter. The content matters. The visuals of it don't really matter. So I've got my company, general purpose. I've got some bullet points I'm going to write here. This long tail one, I probably don't have too much of an idea of it just yet, but the classic keywords I might be able to think about right now. So cookies, birthday cake, birthday party. If you're going to go to, I might be leading the conversation too much, but if you're going to go to a bakery yourself, think yourself. If you're going to go to a bakery, what do you want to get there? Coffee? What might you want to get at a bakery? Cupcakes. Okay, so we're thinking literally in terms of things to buy there. Sometimes some bakeries are internet cafes, free Wi-Fi.
Bakery.
Yeah, sometimes people have bakeries where you buy the stuff, you sit down and eat, and we've got free Wi-Fi.
Yep.
No, I'm saying bakery is the key word.
Oh, okay, yes, bakery. So, what about if I'm doing international? Panaderia, Mexican bakery. What if I'm in Japan? Paña. So, I'm just throwing some simple keywords. They don't have to be literally one word. Free Wi-Fi is 2 words, of course. But I'm not going into a lot of detail just yet. That's where it comes over here. But I might not fully know what that is just yet. Is it just putting cookies in San Diego? No, it's going to be more detailed than that. And the long tail one usually comes from first trying to compile some of these basic ones. Now, in the class, we're going to compile these words, and then eventually we're going to use them in the organic or the paid ways, because if I know these keywords, I can pay Bing or Google some amount of money so that when someone searches cupcakes, I might appear. Or free Wi-Fi, or free Wi-Fi San Diego, meeting room, or whatever. So I can use them in that sense to pay the search engines to use those keywords. Another aspect, as we will see, we use them in our website, maybe in a header, in a footer, in an address. We'll get to those details. We first have to compile it. This is step 1. Step 2 is using them. There is a step 0 that we'll come back to. But the handout that I gave you is, okay, you've got some keywords. Now we need to go to the search engines. We'll go to Google first, and I'll start to search with some of these words. I'll look first for bakery. So I'll go to Google. I'll search bakery. I won't get too fancy, even if it pops up here recommending, although the search engine themselves also sort of give you these suggestions as you start plugging in keywords. Bakery, web design. See, it already knew I was searching for web stuff, web design stuff. So, oh, you must mean web designs. This is again why the second part of it is clean the search engine. Clean the browser. But just ignoring that. Corner bakery, bakery shop, bakery, Walmart bakery. Okay, I'll just search for bakery.
Did you clear the cache?
Nope, I'm not clearing it just to show you that we get a certain results one way and then another result another way. 521 million results. And I get a nice little map here, Adams Avenue area, Twigs Bakery, Black Market, Incredible Cheesecake Company. Okay, so are these top results here, in your opinion, paid results?
Yes.
I don't see I don't see a marker that says ad.
It's because it's display ad, so they're not going to say it.
So it's also a map, isn't it? It's part of the Google ads, Google Maps, and they have rankings. This is showing if you've got a physical location, you might appear on a map. You have this rating system, not necessarily Yelp, most likely Google's own rating system. And one quick note that we'll touch on as we go on about these rankings and review sites, they all have a value. Sometimes people feel like, well, they're all fake, they got bought. People are just paying someone to get reviews. Okay, if you think that, think about taking half of those reviews might be the real ones. Think about half of the half. So 1/4 of those reviews. Okay, let's round it up to 200. Round it down. This one, 200. What's half of 200?
50.
50. Am I going to believe 50 reviews?
Yeah, that's good enough.
That sounds good enough. 200 reviews. I don't think they're going to pay for 200. Okay, if the company has 12 reviews, what's a half of 12? 3. Okay, 3 reviews. Those are all fake. Even if they're yes or no fake. I'm just saying in terms of if you think reviews are fake, most likely some amount, a quarter of them are the real ones. And the more reviews that there are, the more real ones they are, just because of the numbers. If a place has 1,000 reviews, they're not all fake. Okay, 50% of them are fake. Okay, 75% of them are fake. Well, 25. Am I going to trust 25 of 1,000, which is 250, right? I believe 250 reviews. So all of these have very good reviews. 4.6, 4.4, 4.6. Only 83 reviews, however. So this one, just by the raw numbers, is the best bakery because of the number of reviews and that. This is not saying that's a bad one. It's just that just by the numbers, it's not as high, is not as believable. But you make that decision yourself. Yeah.
We are clearly nowhere near Adams. So how do you explain that? How does that work? I'm not signed in, and so it doesn't fully know my exact location. So it's kind of giving these results within the area that are already popular. So something popular shows up again that's also popular. If I had allowed the know my location, then it would be very specific. And that's usually from signing in, or if the pop-up happens and I allow it. Just something interesting to make a note of, that something that's popular will continue to be popular. So we need to build that popularity as we go on. Yes?
Whenever you type in near me, it'll do the pop-up.
We don't want to do that just yet because we're doing the basic search. But that will be true for the more advanced, newer way.
What's that little dollar sign in
This is just showing the expensiveness of a particular location. Some of them have $1 to $3 or $4, just to show that from the data that we know, this particular business is expensive. And not everyone has the dollar symbol because their product is not like in a tiered sort of system. I'm not sure why this one doesn't have it, even though it's all about selling baked goods. So this is kind of a quick indicator of expense of product. Scrolling down, okay. Now, you might say, they paid for these results, so I'm going to skip them. Okay, that's a possibility. As I scroll down, I get a Yelp result. Skip that. I want to find, according to my handout, results of real sites, not a Yelp review, not a blog post. I want to find a result. And maybe it won't happen until page 2. That's okay. Edelweiss Bakery, yeah, so it's probably in there somewhere. Yeah, there's Edelweiss right there. So there's the first one in my case that I got a real result. And again, how do you know this? It comes from a little experience, but logically, Foursquare, the 15 best bakeries, it's giving you another list, not a result. seems to be a real bakery. 10 News, okay, they're talking about great bakeries. That's not a real result. Starry Lane Bakery, that seems to be a real bakery. The French Gourmet Bakery. So I'm seeing some of these real results, for example, starting with Edelweiss. So in my notes here, for this first results page, and sometimes you will need to go to page 2. That's fine. Go to page 2 so you can find real results. You want to accumulate as many as you want. I'm listing here 3. I would recommend 10. You want to note the title and description that you find here. The search engine result page has a title, a description, an address. I'll note it in the notes in a moment, but you can simply copy and paste this. I am accumulating a list of the competition. That's the whole point of this. Local, whatever local is defined, bakeries that are also trying to get top results on Google and Bing, and I'm trying to get top results on Google and Bing, and they have top results compared to me. What are they doing right? Let me crack their code so I can figure it out, so I can do a version of it. I'm not saying steal what they're doing. I'm saying figure out what they're doing and then do your own version, as we will see through the class. So I'm going to copy that. In Word, I can then start over here, competitor analysis. Bakery keyword. You can right click and select keep only the text. If you do Control C to copy and Control V to paste, it might bring too much, especially like the colors and everything. I don't quite want all of that. It's looking really messy. So if you right click, you have the options up here. Paste as only text. Paste it as normal, which is too messy. Merge it, that looks weird too. Keep text only, I would recommend that one instead. And that's not a keyboard shortcut, so you right click. Because, yes.
What tool specifically would you use if you were in a hurry and you just wanted to find out what keywords they were using to get on page 1?
Some of these things are not just like a thing to be in a hurry, unfortunately, especially for free. Off the top of my head, I don't quite have an answer just yet. I have to look at my notes to see what might be a good tool. And you can also do the searching on the search engines to find some of these tools. I'll put a link in my notes in a little bit when I pull that up. But for the moment, we'll do the hard way, but then it gives us kind of more understanding. Meta title is what we find up here. URL, or web address. And then this over here is the meta description. So every result has these 3 pieces at least. They vary in other ways. You have control over all of these, and then all of these, I'm not sure why this keeps blinking, but all of these have the place for you to possibly write some keywords. So to make the notes in my other document, I'll give you both of these documents at the end of the day. In a search engine results page, you can affect all of this metadata. You can add classic or long tail keywords in these. It's one of many places to consider adding keywords. We'll look at all of those possible places as we go on. Now, they have the keyword bakery in the name of their business. So Edelweiss Bakery. They also have the keyword San Diego. In their address, Edelweiss Bakery, San Diego. Okay, so possible, also one of the reasons why are they number one compared to all of the other results. They've got the keyword bakery, and the keyword bakery, and the keyword bakery. Now, I'm not saying they've got it locked and you'll never be able to beat them. You could. They might be doing things that you might be doing things that they are not. Maybe you start to really get really active on Facebook or Pinterest, or you start to pay to get higher, and then that kind of gets you ahead for a moment, and then you stick with organic free stuff, and then you get past them. So it's not insurmountable, but this is to see who is already at the top. So looking at it over here, Edelweiss Bakery in Rancho Bernardo, so they have more keywords. A full-service European bakery. Okay, so they're using that keyword European. Maybe that's the kind of baked goods that I want, or maybe I'm looking for traditional Filipino style baked goods, or Mexican style, or classic American style, whatever. So this is helping me decide what other keywords are people going to search for, not just bakery. What else might they be interested in? Family owned and operated, specializing in European style baked goods, wedding, ... So Google grabbed some amount of the data on their homepage to display here. Unless you go to your website to the place where you can write it yourself, it may get cut off awkwardly. Google's default is to grab the first bit of text to display, unless you specify what to display, which can be different than what the first words are, and that's fine if they're not the same. It's just a way for you to properly optimize your site. Up here, sometimes what people do is not just the name of the bakery. It's valid for you to put, Edelweiss Bakery, San Diego, open Monday to Friday. In whatever software you use to make your website, you have a place for you to edit this stuff. And you don't have to literally just put the name of your business. You can put this extra keywords and stuff. You can put your phone number, because it's one of the first things people will see on the search results. Maybe they don't need to go to your website. I'm going to make the sale on the phone. This one, you edit that. Once we talk about service providers, where does your website exist? Where is it uploaded to? That's a little more complicated. I'll get back to that later. And then again, the description, you can write all of this. So if I'm not going to do every single thing here. This is more for your activity. But then next, okay, click on some of these results. Write some notes. When was it updated? Does it have a blog? What's a blog? Well, I can look that up. Is the design modern? What's modern? That's perhaps in the eye of the beholder. Is the site mobile friendly? On that, I might have to pull out my cell phone and go to their website, and does it look good on a mobile phone? If the text is tiny and I have to zoom into it, it might not be mobile friendly. And nowadays, the search engines really care that your website looks nice on a mobile phone. So much traffic is happening on mobile phones compared to regular computers that if your site is not looking good on mobile phone, maybe that's why you're on page 40. Now then, subjective things. What do you like about their website, and what don't you like? So you're going to have to swallow your pride and say, hey, that's kind of a nice looking logo. Mine's not so good. The layout looks nice. It makes sense. It flows. These pictures are way better looking than mine. You have to do a little bit of be objective, subjective. So I'm going to follow Edelweiss Bakery link. Yeah, I'm giving them free traffic, but again, I need to do competitor analysis.
Or you're costing them a couple bucks, either way.
Yeah, if they're doing the pay-per-click, then
Yeah.
I just cost them,
I bet they are.
2 cents or something. Now my screen's a little bit different than yours, so it might kind of like look a little zoomed out or something. But it looks like that. So they've got, what are, honestly, first impressions when you see this?
It's hideous.
Too honest. Too busy. What's up with all this empty space down here? But they're number one. So
Well, the things that are definitely paid for should be marked as an ad, which I'm not seeing here. They're not up on this higher one, which that's another paid system. So we.
I think if it's just an ad word, I don't think it shows AD.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. There's just so many ways to. So many ways to get into the results. If we assume that everyone's paying for it, then what does that tell us? We need to pay for it? Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say they're just doing something right, which is what we need to figure out what they're doing right. That's the purpose of this activity. Question?
Could it be, actually I know about this big group, it's very popular, and it's also been around a long time, so maybe, I mean, I know of businesses that have been around for a long time, and just by virtue of using white hat techniques and by being around for a long time, they're at the top of the SERPs. So could it be?
Yes, most likely. There again, all of these signals. What are all of the things on your website, outside of your website that you're doing? One of them simply is that we've been in San Diego 50 years or whatever, and then we got on the internet too. So popularity breeds popularity online. Unpopularity breeds unpopularity too. So to make the notes here, which we'll be coming back to and espousing on further, there are many signals, aka factors, to get ranked. Current popularity helps future popularity, which of course is a catch-22. It's a paradox. Well, I want to get popular, but I'm not popular, but you'll be popular when you're popular. Well, that's all of these techniques that we'll talk about to get the ball rolling, to start the popularity, which will then eventually build. It does work. It's the fast way of paying or the slower way, which we'll mostly talk about in the class, which creates a foundation that keeps giving back to you as compared to the paying that then it kind of stops if you stop paying. So current popularity helps. If you already have a real-world presence, if you already have a cachet of popularity in the real world, that'll translate somewhat to the digital world, because people know you in the real world and then they'll search you maybe by name more specifically in the digital world. That popularity is showing the search engines they're getting traffic, they already have traffic, they exist, we'll keep ranking them well. It builds upon itself. The URL of your site, the first words of the first paragraph of your site, your Facebook, your Snapchat. Oops, I don't have a Snapchat. I'm just saying your social media, any of that stuff besides your website, anything, all of these signals. It's all, wait a minute, it's all coming back to what that keyword was, content. It's all coming back to not tricks and things, but you've got pictures, you've got text, you've got content on social media. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're maybe paying once in a while for these AdWords or the Bing AdWords, whatever they call theirs, and then you're looking at your stats and analyzing your stats and doing tactics. All of that is all interrelated, and honestly, it is complicated. SEO is complicated. That's why there's SEO companies that just do this nonstop for clients. Maybe some companies build you a website and they do SEO. That's where they make their main money, monthly level or something. It is a complicated thing, but hopefully in this class you get a variety of the jargon, the concepts. You can start to apply it, learn it little by little, keep going with it, and just keep improving. Question?
Does the Facebook on its own, a lot of activity on Facebook will help the ranking of when somebody's not on Facebook, and if you're just searching on Google?
It helps to some degree, but we don't know how much, because think about it this way. Facebook is an independent company of Google.
Right.
It's the Facebook company, and they're competitors.
Right, so
And
that's why I was thinking it wouldn't tie together.
in theory, the companies say publicly that everyone has a chance to rank well, blah blah blah. But they are big competitive companies with multi-billion-dollar corporations that have to please investors and all of that. And we don't quite know. And if it ever gets revealed, imagine the lawsuits that, oh, you purposely are removing my Facebook stuff. So we perhaps under the table operate under the idea that, yeah, there is going to be some shenanigans because they are competitors, but there's no real way to prove it. So knowing that, we want to be active on Facebook. We want to be active on Google Maps. We want to have an account on Pinterest. We want to be everywhere and do everything so that everything helps us.
Now that you just said that, maybe something to think about is Google owns YouTube, so maybe the Google algorithm is taking into account if people are searching for you on YouTube.
Yes, definitely. YouTube is one of the big sort of stealth places that a lot of people don't think about. How can I use YouTube to help my business? Can I make some videos for my business? 10-second videos is great, because the alternative is you have nothing on YouTube. You don't have to make 20-minute long things or really professional things. You just need content on any of these places, and all of it helps you.
One thing about the Facebook that I noticed too is like when I do a blog post on my blog and I get a bunch of people reshare it or post it on Facebook, my Facebook will populate on Google because people are talking about this now. So this whole like popularity breeds more popularity concept definitely works. I had like a post go viral, I had like 2,000 reshares on my blog, and I ranked super high just on my Facebook over my website. So it definitely happens when you're like getting that popularity.
So when somebody was searching for you on Google, your Facebook page was coming up?
What's coming up over my actual
Website?
I don't have any like meta description on my website or anything like that. Mine just says join culture. So like I haven't put time into doing the SEO on my website, but I noticed that on Facebook when people are talking about this trend, it definitely popular on Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's just to confirm, I did not pay you to say that stuff, right? Yeah, exactly.
No, definitely.
We're seeing it anecdotally right there that it does work in terms of you didn't put too much effort into your website, but you're active on Facebook, but you're getting results on Google. So see, it is a big old web tied together. So the more you do of it, the better.
It's definitely key. I'm definitely learning that and doing these things. Like having that content, that cashier stuff is like super important. Instagram just recently put in an alt text thing for people that have hard hearing. So you can actually start like slowly meta descripting your own Instagram posts for people that have hard hearing, and that will pop there too. There's like tons of different things out there.
So these are the things that we need to learn if we're going to do it ourselves, which I'll put it in the notes and we'll talk about. But getting back to the competitor analysis here, this would be that I would look at it and, okay, maybe first impressions, what I write in my Word document, oh, looks really weird, I don't like the colors, etc. But I do want to kind of then look at it and make notes about, like, well, what are they doing? They do have a slideshow here which shows their food. Maybe the photos aren't the best, but they're showing their food. I don't have a slideshow on my site. Maybe that's something that I might want to think about. Oh, on their site they have it very easily right at the top, their hours that they're open and their phone number and their address and such. Oops, mine is on the bottom of my website. It's not on my website. I've got this, and it could be designed a little better, but it's got something that pops up very visually right here. New store hours. It's big in red and yellow, and I see it. So their top menu, look at their menu. Custom wedding cakes, special occasion cakes, our bakery, menu. All of these important things, wedding tasting. All of these important things that also have keywords that are keywords are visible early on the page. And for my notes, notes, if you don't have a starting point, okay, when was it updated? Can we find anywhere on the site where we might see a date of last change? Maybe this right here, January 2016, which is ancient in internet time, but there's a note there. Maybe anything else? Nothing down at the bottom. So in my notes, updated 1/1/2016? Question mark. That's as best as I can find there. I'm just trying to pull together some possible notes. So it doesn't have to be like really scientific, but maybe that's when that was updated. Further, does it have a blog? So a blog is that it's constantly updating itself with new articles or recipes, new content that changes on a regular basis.
if I look around on the site, sometimes they're literally called blog, sometimes they're called updates or news. Let's see here, bakery menu, contact, about, send an image. Maybe I'll do control find for the word blog. It doesn't seem that it has blog. What about news, updates, or just scrolling through the site? Doesn't seem. For a more detailed description and pricing, click here. No, so it doesn't seem to have a blog. No blog. The meaning of this, as we'll get into the details, signals, do you have a, let me write it this way, have you updated your blog? Whoops, I don't have a blog. So that might be a step before that. Do you have a blog? A blog. So a blog is timely updates on your site. Timely updates or articles on your site. You might say, well, my site doesn't, articles on my bakery? That doesn't even make sense. Almost every site could have a blog, could have something that updates. I'll go into more detail about how it could be for a particular company as we go on, but the idea is this is one of the places, so we'll say why, because it's content for the search engines to find. Let me emphasize that. Content. I've run out of places on my home page to stick my 17 keywords. That's not what you want to do. You want to create content. You want to create an article once a month, once a week, once a quarter, whatever. Some amount of time, once every other day, some amount of time where you're creating updates. And we get to the nuances of that later, but these are the places where I'm going to have these keywords as well. Yes?
How do we, once we have a blog, how do we get people to subscribe to it or whatnot, or push it?
That's the same sort of paradox about, well, if you're popular, you'll be more popular, but I need to get popular to be popular, etc. So I've got a great article that I wrote, no one's reading it. The short answer is that, again, comes from marketing, like social media, to help yourself promote that you exist, that your articles exist, social media, and that's kind of like more of content that you have to market and promote and share via social media, like in the social media class.
Value. It's really important to valuable.
So as we go on here, what else? Is the design modern? No, I'm going to write here that it looks terrible. I don't like the colors of the font, etc. So again, I'm not going to do every single thing here. This is the idea, however, of competitor analysis. I'm looking at the competition via a certain keyword, and oh, I'm only doing it on one search engine? No, I should also do it on the other search engine. If I go over to Bing, I'll search for the exact same thing, bakery. And I may get the same results. Ooh, I get a nice top up over here with nice tasty looking graphics. Okay, let's say those are paid. I'm going to skip them, maybe. Let's go down here. Carlos's Bakery. Carlos Bakery. #1 result up here, completely different than Google. Magnolia Bakery, #2. Their map is different. They're more in downtown San Diego. There's Extraordinary Desserts. So more competitors for me to analyze. There's the same Yelp result. There's the same theory of what bakery is that is not important. There's the free dictionary, a definition of what a bakery is, irrelevant. There's Edelweiss. You know, they're 4 spots below real results. Am I going to say these Bing results are worse than Google? Well, for Edelweiss, maybe. But I am seeing different results in different companies. For Carlos Bakery, this is the best search engine ever because they're #1. And again, you may have never heard of Bing. You may never use it. You don't know anyone that uses it. At least 20%. I believe the latest stat is actually more like 26%. No, I'm confusing that with WordPress. So about 20% of traffic globally uses Bing. So at one point it was 0. It might benefit me to set up the Webmaster Tools for free to connect my website and the search engine and give me the tips and optimization because other people might use it. Like I said, you buy a brand new Windows laptop,
it has Bing search automatically. I'm going to then change it 10 seconds later to Chrome, but millions of others won't, and you might get those results. So I would do the same thing here. From another search engine, you can get really detailed in your Word document here and say competitor analysis bakery keyword in Google, and then make another section, competitor analysis keyword in Bing, and then put in this result. And again, compile a list of how many you want, but I'm noting 3 at least to get started. Carlo's Bakery has bakery in the name of the company, and then in the address as well, although it looks like Carlos Bakery, but it doesn't matter, it's just there's bakery. And then their description. This one they seemed to have written it manually because it doesn't trail off. Rather than the search engine just capturing whatever first words, they went into their website settings and they wrote a description that ends. Carlos is a family-owned. Ooh, I'm seeing family-owned here and family-owned here. 2 bakeries so far have mentioned family-owned. Too bad my bakery is not family-owned. I'm not going to shoehorn the word family-owned if it's not family-owned. But, oh, we are family-owned. That might be a keyword to use. Featured on the TLC hit show, Cake Boss. Okay, well, that's part of the reason they have that popularity. They were on a TV show. So I would love to be on a TV show as well, but that might be hard. What else do they have? Carlo's, originally opened by Carlo Guastafaro in 1910. Was acquired by Bartolo Lastro Sr. in 1964. Okay, this is like very... What's that? This is like very esoteric. I don't know any of those names. They're really proud of that. And okay, but they've been around since 1910, 1964. That's part of possible reason they're high up there. They're probably getting a big bump from the TLC show, which you might say, well, why doesn't that help them on Google? Again, different search engines, different algorithms. They each claim to have the best results. I want to know that people can search on both engines, so I want to do the best that I can and use all the techniques available to me to get found on both. Now, one minor thing here. Here's a demerit. They're missing a space right there. Anyway, so then I would also follow the link and then go check out their homepage. Looks much more modern than the other site, although the logo right here looks a little jagged, low quality for some reason. This is me looking at it in a web designer point of view. Featured on Bake You Rich. Oh, okay, they're on another TV show. Popularity breeds popularity. They got on one TV show, now they're on another. Now, a lot of us, we're not going to get on a TV show, but maybe we get reviewed in the local paper, the local Free Press, the Union Tribune, the Star News. Maybe we do something locally, which then popularity breeds popularity.
I don't even know if they're local.
Good point.
It's at the top locations.
Santa Monica. Well, they're also very, very national. Las Vegas.
So they for sure are paying to get up there.
So you might think, well, they're totally out of town. They're not my competition. There is still a value to see competition within your niche, within your industry. You know, looking at it side by side, not to put them down, but there's the quality of one website versus the quality of another. And you can judge a website by its cover. So if people are looking at both of these types of sites and one just looks better, even if their food isn't really better, that's still something that gets you ahead of the competition.
You can see things like giant call to actions that say nationwide shipping. Do you still consider that out of your market or out of your competition? Because they're literally the first two things of nationwide shipping on top.
This is something that people have to consider on their own. Do I consider it that
I don't even ship anything. I'm just local right here. I'm just saying that they're a competition in terms of that they're in the same industry. And I want to see industry trends on websites and content because I'm so passé. I don't even have a slideshow. My website doesn't have anything like that. So they're not a direct competition. They may be direct competition because they ship here, even though I'm here and they're not, but they ship here. So that's just something that people have to figure out individually, how competitive are they. But I do feel there is that value that everyone's in competition with you if they're in the same industry. We're all trying to get the same, monetary piece of the pie because we're all bakeries. But then maybe this might inspire me to update my website. I haven't done it in a while. Maybe I want a new website design that I show a lot of my photos really nice and big and close up like this. So there's direct competition and indirect competition, and there's aspirational competition. What am I trying to aspire to? Where am I trying to get to? I want to look like something like this one day. I want to be on TV one day. I need to put the foundation down in a variety of places to get to that point. I've had clients that's what happened to them. They've had, one case was, they were a local taco shop. They started in Tijuana, then they came to San Diego with various connections. They got connected with Andrew Zimmern, and he came over and ate at their restaurant, and then they got another TV show and another thing, and yeah, popularity breeds popularity, and that's the best case scenario, and not everyone's going to experience that, but we can still get the popularity and fame and traffic and all of that in various ways. Yes?
So I have a question about, right what you're highlighting. So I just wanted to be clear about having those keywords in the first sentence of the homepage. That's going to help your SEO? Is it keywords, or is it long tail, classic keywords or long tail keywords? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
All of the keywords that we are developing via our competitor analysis are going to be useful to put everywhere on our site, quote everywhere. So the problem is I've thought of 20 keywords. I'm not going to fit 20 keywords in one paragraph. Now that's spam. That's what the spammers are doing.
Right.
So I might put one on my first paragraph, and then I put another one, a paragraph over here, and I put another one on page 2, all over my site and on my social media and on my Facebook biography. All of these places where I can have content is where I'm going to use those keywords. So not just forcing them on the home screen. That was the old way. And now because the spammers can do that, and we suffer for that, well, the search engines change their algorithm, and now if you try to force all 20 of your keywords on the home screen, you're a spammer. I believe you that you're not. Google won't. Bing won't. So we have to be judicious and careful about it. As we go through the class, we see the details. And let me write that again here. Your content, many signals. So these keywords, I think I have it in the handout as well. These keywords that we compile will be used everywhere on your presence. When I say it that way, that means also your Twitter, your Facebook, your Yelp profile, whatever. So it will be used everywhere on your presence, such as the first paragraph of your site, or the catalog page of your site, or your URL, or your Twitter bio, or your Facebook weekly postings. I've got to post on Facebook weekly now? Well, everywhere that we create this content is a place. Your quarterly newsletter. I need a newsletter now? No, I'm just putting out examples of all of these possible places, of all of this possible place to do content. Because think about the big companies, Coca-Cola, Nike, etc. They don't just have a website. They have a blog, they have an Instagram, they have a Snapchat, they have a newsletter, they have stores, they have commercials, they have all of this marketing to create awareness that they exist so that you buy their product versus the competition. So we need to do a version of that as well. Part of it via social media, which is the other class, which I go into more detail about social media. This class where we lay foundations, think about theories, how we are going to then apply them. I'll show you more specifics, but in the first few classes it's more theory, and then we get detailed. We'll take a break in a moment, but to finish the thought here, the new way, the long tail keywords, this sort of way, you this is the one where now I would search via cleaning cookies, clearing the cache, resetting your browser, whatever term your browser calls it. I would go to my settings somewhere, and I'm not going to say, yeah, in Chrome do this. Everyone uses a different browser, and you have to figure it out yourself. It's part of the learning process. You have to go somewhere to your browser and find out how to clear your cookies, clear the cache, so that you have a clean search engine so that it doesn't remember what you've been doing. I'm going to go, in this case, to Firefox. I have not used Firefox all day long. It's a clean browser. Maybe do that you have your main browser and some other browser to do this SEO stuff. I have not gone to this browser. I have not gone to any of these search engines today. It doesn't know anything about me just yet. And in this second new way, search for a long tail keyword from your niche. Maybe I'm figuring out, based on the classic keywords, that the top results seem to show that people are searching for family-owned bakery near me in San Diego, in Hillcrest, in Eastlake, whatever, not Ohio. So I'll search that. It's just getting more detailed, longer phrasing. Think about when I ask to my phone in a natural way. Think about asking it that way. And okay, any real results? I get Yelp, 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 Sylvia's Cakes. Okay, they're the first real result with a long tail keyword. You could use a Yelp result to go further. I'll go look at their list. Sawaya Brothers. Okay, 9 reviews. This is the best, supposedly. So 70 reviews, Sweet Cloud, Hans and Harry. Okay, I vouch for that one. So let's say this one, just clicking randomly. Somewhere here, even in Yelp, it probably will have a link over to their homepage, sweetcloudcreamery.com. That didn't appear in any of these Google actual searches, which is fine. Competitor analysis doesn't have to literally be exactly how I'm showing you. You can go this roundabout way that first go to Yelp, then find a result, then go to their website. I'm just trying to find competition. And this company seems to be local, coming soon or something. Pretty modern design that is like a big graphic, this modern thing with like a fun little animation or video, kids selling and close-ups and things really cool about us. I didn't see too deeply, I just picked it. But they're okay, they're modern, cool design, but then I might not understand the concepts of web design and graphic design and that sort of theory, but that's hard to read. So then we're getting kind of like red background on a red background, to red and all of that. They're on all the social media. It would be nice if I can click on it. That's a fail right there. So rest in peace, Google+. Oh, you can click on Yelp, like it's going to Yelp, but not these. So don't put an icon of Twitter if you don't have Twitter, because people are going to click on it. The Facebook one is clickable, and it'll go to their Facebook. But don't put when did they update this? 2 hours ago. They updated this 2 hours ago, and they got again this modern style of video. Look at all these people to get some free stuff, I guess. So that just might give me. Maybe they're in Eastlake, Ohio. Doesn't quite matter. I might see ideas that I need to step up my photo game. All my photos look really blurry. And yeah, these photos look good, but if you look at a photo and really think about it, you can probably create most of these photos. This is a close-up. Now it's fun because it's a teal table with a background, and maybe they know a little bit
So don't be discouraged that other companies seem to have a professional photographer and all of that. You look at what other people have done, and then see, can you do your own version? Looping video. No, I'm sure it's going to change any minute. Let's keep watching.
That should be followed by people like eating
Eating it?
stuff.
I don't know. Sometimes people don't like to see people eating, so you have to be careful. So they had a video that auto-played, which actually is kind of a faux pas nowadays, because it's also playing in my background, but I have the volume muted. So I don't want that. I don't want to go to the website and suddenly there's music. It's a cool video, but I usually want people to choose to play it. So, but they're having fun, and it's all of that. So, competitor analysis. Great website, but a few rough around the edges. I don't like the red on red, and music should not play automatically. This is subjective. Just make notes as you do competitor analysis, and then you start to see keywords in their text, and then you can use it for yourself to try to get ideas and such. So it's a process. You spend a weekend to do it. You compile this. You come back to the document. You refine it, and you start to lay the groundwork to go to our next particular steps. Question?
When you're working with something that's like super niche, like non-popular, for example, when you search that, you get a lot of blog post results. Is it okay to click in those blog search results to go to the website, or is that just
It's still.
because it's a blog post?
I would still count it as a relevant result because it's being found in your keyword territory, and it has relevant content, again. So one of these lists about the top 10 bakeries, well, that's a little bit more removed than direct competition because it's a list of stuff. But that blog post with that keyword would be competition because it's a result and it's using the keywords that you're using. Then on your own, you would compile this list, whatever, I just put numbers here. X amount of simple or classic and X amount of long tail, you compile these. The strategy is you search your competition, you're seeing what's working for them, then we will figure out as we go on what sets you apart. I'm yet another bakery, but how can I stand out against the competition? We'll use our long tail keywords as a post on a blog. You'll also create content. If I have my website complete, well, it never really should be complete. Your website should still change. That doesn't mean I'm going to put a new photo every once in a while. That means I'm going to put new content every once in a while, which I'll get to later. You'll become an authority in your field. As you create content, popularity breeds popularity. As you are active on a regular basis, this is a long-term thing. Companies in the real world, once you stop seeing them on TV, you stop remembering them because everything else is around to take your mind share. So this that we'll learn, even if you feel that you learned it completely and become a pro at the end of this class, if you just do it this month and you're done, you're going to fade away because the competition is still doing it. So you still have to keep up to it to some various degrees. And I mentioned that there is a book in my syllabus that you might want to look at, and there's a chapter in there that might be useful. So let's take a break here, and there's some food for thought. Let's take a little break. We're back at 12:45, and we'll do a little bit more.